The Archives of Forgotten Worlds. The galactic archives stretched across an entire moon orbiting Centauri Prime, containing the collective knowledge of over 10,000 civilizations. Archivist Vex, a slender nebulon with translucent blue skin that pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, moved silently through the restricted section, his six-fingered hands gliding over ancient data crystals. "Access denied," flashed the terminal for the fourth time. Vex's bioluminescence flickered in annoyance. As head archivist of the Galactic Confederation's historical repository, there shouldn't be files beyond his clearance. Yet here it was, an entire planetary system locked behind security protocols he'd never encountered before. Computer, override using Archivist Prime authorization. Vex Theta 9. The screen pulsed red. Authorization insufficient. Clearance level Omega required. Omega clearance. Vex had never heard of such a designation. His curiosity, already piqued, now burned like a hypernova. After 312 standard cycles of dutiful service, cataloging the history and biology of countless worlds, Vex had never encountered something he couldn't access. 3 rotation cycles later, having sliced through 17 layers of encryption using techniques that would have him immediately ejected from the archives if discovered, Vex stared at the simple designation on his screen. System. Sol. Primary inhabited world. Earth. Classification. QARANTYD. DIREC Omega. Status. Ongoing. Observation only. Nino contact authorized. Beneath this header stretched thousands of observation reports dating back nearly 50,000 standard cycles. Vex's inner membranes fluttered in excitement. This wasn't just some classified military installation or forgotten colony. This was an entire sentient species being deliberately kept isolated from the Galactic Confederation. The observation reports painted a fascinating picture. The dominant species, humans, had evolved from primitive tool users to a spacefaring civilization in a mere few thousand cycles. Their technological development curve was unlike anything in Confederate records. Most species took millions of cycles to achieve what humans had done in a cosmic eye blink. Vex downloaded everything he could onto a secure crystal. The more he read, the more questions arose. The final report, dated merely 20 cycles ago, noted with alarm that humans had begun developing primitive faster-than-light theory, centuries ahead of where they should be on the standard development curve. Then came the directive that made Vex's skin pulse deep indigo with shock. By order of the Confederation Council, INQRECD SURV Alliance authorized. Preparation for potential species containment Hirotokival initiated. RATIONALE. Evolutionary Ananobmem TETA Kilas 3AT potential. They were planning to contain an entire sentient species, billions of beings, because they were developing too quickly. It violated every principle the Confederation claimed to uphold. Vex made his decision before his logical mind could talk him out of it. He would go to Earth. He would see these humans for himself. Then he would decide what to do with the information. Commander Lyanna Reeves watched the blurry object on her screen with growing concern. In 15 years at the International Space Monitoring Station orbiting Mars, she'd seen her share of anomalies, but nothing like this. "Run the analysis again," she ordered. Lieutenant Chen shook his head. "Same results, Commander. Mass consistent with a vessel approximately 30 meters long. Deceleration pattern indicates controlled entry into the solar system. It's slowing down as it approaches, not following any natural orbital mechanics. And we're certain it's not one of ours. Not Chinese, not European, not private sector. Negative. No nation or corporation has anything with this capability. Whatever it is, it's not from Earth." Lyanna's heart raced, but her voice remained steady. "Inform UNSDF Command. Initiate First Contact Protocol Alpha. and get me a direct line to the Secretary General. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. The object maintained its approach, ignoring all attempts at communication. It bypassed Mars' orbit, decelerated further, and established orbit around Earth's moon, positioning itself on the far side where it would be hidden from Earth-based observation. Then, without warning, a smaller craft detached and headed directly for Earth. Vex had selected a remote landing site in a region the humans called Iceland, sparsely populated and with geothermal features that would mask his ship's energy signature. His reconnaissance craft, designed for stealth observation, touched down in a valley surrounded by steam vents and bubbling mud pools. The atmosphere was breathable for his species, though the higher oxygen content made him lightheaded. Gravity was stronger than he was accustomed to, making movement laborious. He donned an exosuit that would help with both issues and provide some protection from the elements. Vex had barely completed his landing checklist when his sensors detected approaching vehicles. Fast-moving ground transport, followed by aerial craft circling overhead. They had detected him despite his stealth systems. Remarkable, he muttered, readjusting his assessment of human technological capability. His ship's external cameras showed black vehicles surrounding his landing site and humans in protective gear establishing a perimeter. Their weapons were primitive projectile and explosive types, but numerous enough to concern him. A voice boomed through an amplification device in the local language. His translator implant processed it. Attention, unknown craft. You have entered Earth territory without authorization. Identify yourself and state your purpose. So much for anonymous observation. Vex considered his options and decided on honesty, or at least partial honesty. I am Archivist Vex of the Nebulon species. I come in peace as an independent researcher. There was a long pause before the response came. Exit your craft unarmed with your appendages visible. Vex complied, emerging slowly from his ship with his 4 arms raised in what he hoped was a universal gesture of non-aggression. The gathered humans stepped back collectively, weapons raised. He couldn't blame them for their caution. With his translucent blue skin, 4 arms, and large compound eyes, he must appear alien indeed to them. A human stepped forward, wearing a uniform different from the others. I am Commander Lyanna Reeves, representing the United Nations Space Defense Force. Are you the vanguard of an invasion force? Vex's skin pulsed yellow with amusement. I'm an archivist, a keeper of knowledge. My ship, as your sensors have undoubtedly confirmed, carries no weapons. I came alone to learn. Learn what, exactly? About you, humans. Vex hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. You're unique among the species I studied. Commander Reeves' expression remained skeptical. You expect me to believe you crossed interstellar space alone, without authorization from your government, just to study us? Yes. Vex's skin pulsed with patterns indicating absolute truth, though he knew humans couldn't read such signals. And the fact that you immediately understood I came from beyond your star system, rather than assuming I was from another Earth nation, proves my point about your uniqueness. This seemed to give the commander pause. After conferring with others, she approached again. You'll be taken to a secure facility for further conversation. Your craft will be guarded but not entered without your consent. This is not negotiable. Vex agreed readily. This first contact was already far more diplomatic than he'd expected, given what he knew of humanity's fractious history. The secure facility turned out to be an underground complex in a remote desert region. Vex was treated with cautious respect, confined but comfortable, studied but not experimented upon. Over the following days, he spoke with a rotating team of scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. Commander Reeves remained his primary contact, asking the most insightful questions about galactic politics, technology, and history. Vex found himself increasingly impressed with her intellect and adaptability. There's something you're not telling us, she said during their 7th interview session. You've been forthcoming about galactic history, astrogation, even some technology. But whenever we ask about Earth's status in this confederation, you become evasive. Vex's skin darkened with stress patterns. Perception was never a Nebulon trait, but you humans excel at it. Then tell me the truth. Why are you really here? Vex made a decision that would likely end his career, if he even had one to return to. Your world is classified as quarantined by the Galactic Confederation. No contact is permitted. No information about the wider galactic community is to be shared with humans. Why? Lyanna's expression hardened. Officially, for your protection during development. The truth is more complex. Vex's inner membranes fluttered nervously. You frighten them. Frighten them. We haven't even left our solar system in any meaningful way. But you will, and soon. Your species' development rate is unprecedented. You went from primitive tools to rudimentary space travel in less than 10,000 cycles, years as you call them. Most species take millions of years to achieve the same progress. Lyanna leaned forward. And that's threatening because the pattern prediction algorithms suggest that at your current rate of advancement, you would surpass current Confederation technology within 300 years of joining the galactic community. Vex's skin pulsed deep blue with emphasis. No species in recorded history has ever demonstrated such potential. So they quarantined us. To what end? Observation. Assessment of threat potential. And recently, Vex hesitated, then continued, preparation for possible containment protocols. Containment. Lyanna's voice was dangerously quiet. You mean restriction. Limitation. In the worst case, prevention of further technological advancement by any means necessary. The room fell silent. Vex could see Commander Reeves processing this information, her expression shifting from shock to anger, and finally to resolution. The people of Earth need to know this, she said at last. That's why I came, Vex admitted. What the Confederation Council is considering violates our most sacred principles. I couldn't stand by and allow it to happen without giving you a chance to prepare. Lyanna stood. Then let's not waste time. The Secretary General needs to hear this directly. News of Vex's arrival spread across the globe, despite initial attempts at containment. His image, 4 arms, blue translucent skin, and large compound eyes, became the most recognizable face on the planet overnight. When the truth about Earth's quarantine status and the potential containment protocols was revealed during a special United Nations session, the response was global outrage followed by unprecedented unity. Ancient rivalries and conflicts were temporarily set aside in the face of this external threat. Vex found himself in the uncomfortable position of galactic whistleblower, providing humanity with information that gave them their best chance of survival. Locations of monitoring stations around the solar system, details of Confederation technology, and the political structure of the galactic government. How long do we have? Asked Secretary General Okafor during an emergency Security Council meeting. Unknown, Vex replied. But my unauthorized visit will be discovered soon, if it hasn't been already. That will accelerate their timeline. Then we need to accelerate ours, Lyanna said. Dr. Chakrabarty, what's the status on the Prometheus drive? The physicist looked up from his tablet. The prototype has passed initial tests. With the information archivist Vex provided about quantum field manipulation, we've improved efficiency by 300%. It could be ready for installation within months, not years. And the defensive systems? Asked the Chinese representative. Adapting our particle beam technology to Vex's specifications for shield penetration is proceeding ahead of schedule, responded the Russian delegate. Secretary General Okafor nodded, her expression grim but determined. We've spent our history fighting amongst ourselves. Now we face a threat that makes those conflicts seem petty. Humanity will not be contained, controlled, or constrained by anyone, not even a galactic confederation. Vex's skin pulsed with patterns of admiration. These humans, in mere days, had begun adapting theoretical knowledge into practical applications that had taken other species generations to develop. The Confederation's fears weren't unfounded, but their solution was deeply wrong. As the meeting concluded, Commander Reeves approached Vex privately. "You've committed treason against your people to help us," she said. "Why?" Vex considered the question. "Because in my centuries of studying the galaxy's history, I've learned that diversity, true diversity of thought, of approach, of evolution, is the universe's greatest strength. The Confederation has grown stagnant with homogeneity. Humanity, with all your contradictions and your astonishing adaptability, may be exactly what the galaxy needs." Lyanna smiled grimly. "Let's hope the rest of the Confederation can be convinced of that, because we have no intention of going quietly into containment." "No," Vex agreed, his skin pulsing with anticipation. "I don't believe you will. Humanity unbound." The Confederation surveillance station orbiting Jupiter's moon Europa detected the anomaly first. Archivist Vex's reconnaissance ship was no longer transmitting from its designated observation post. The station's commander, a methodical Taurid named Zexpalon, followed protocol and sent a priority alert to Confederation Central Command. Within hours, the response arrived. A battle group diverted from the Orion sector, led by Executor Krell aboard the dreadnought Inexorable Justice. Their orders were explicit: locate the missing archivist, contain any information breach, and, if necessary, initiate the first phase of containment protocol against the quarantined world. Krell, a veteran of 3 galactic campaigns against expansion-minded species, viewed the situation with pragmatic detachment. If humans had captured a Confederation citizen and extracted classified information, regrettable measures would be required. The needs of galactic stability outweighed the potential of one developing species, no matter how promising. As the Confederation battle group accelerated toward the Sol system, neither Krell nor any of his strategists anticipated what awaited them. On Earth, preparation accelerated at a pace that surprised even Vex. "You've weaponized the Heisenberg compensators already?" he asked, his skin pulsing with disbelief as he examined the prototype weapon Commander Reeves had brought to his quarters. "Dr. Zhang adapted the principles you shared about quantum field manipulation," Lyanna explained. "The compensators were designed for our nascent FTL drive, but she realized they could be modified to disrupt the particle cohesion in Confederation shield technology." Vex's inner membranes fluttered in amazement. "That's innovative. Most species would take decades to make that conceptual leap." "We don't have decades," Lyanna said grimly. "Our deep space observation platforms have detected a Confederation battle group approaching. Arrival estimated in 14 days. Vex absorbed this with skin darkening to deep indigo. "Executor Krell," he said finally. It would be him they'd send. "You know this Krell. By reputation. Efficient. Ruthless when necessary. 300 years of military service without a single failed mission." Vex's compound eyes fixed on Lyanna. "He won't come to negotiate. Then we'll have to change his mind," she replied with a determined expression that Vex was coming to recognize as characteristically human. "The Secretary General has called for you. It's time to finalize our strategy." The Situation Room beneath the United Nations complex in New York had been transformed. Where once sat diplomats and military leaders from individual nations, now gathered a unified command representing all of humanity. Secretary General Okafor stood at the head of the table, beside holographic displays showing the approaching Confederation fleet. "Archivist Vex," she nodded as they entered. "We need your assessment of our defense plan." Over the next hour, Vex reviewed humanity's hastily assembled but remarkably sophisticated strategy. They had taken his information about Confederation technology and tactics and developed countermeasures that were both innovative and unsettling. "This quantum entanglement communication system," he indicated one blueprint. "It bypasses our standard communication interdiction techniques, but it would require technology you shouldn't be able to develop for at least a century." Dr. Chakrabarty smiled. "We've had the theoretical framework for decades. Your information about quantum phase alignment was the missing piece." Vex moved to another display. And these orbital platforms, they are based on the defense satellites around Centauri Prime. With modifications, added the Russian defense minister. We've incorporated our existing kinetic bombardment technology with your particle acceleration designs. Most concerning to me, Vex said carefully, are these biological countermeasures. The room grew quiet. Dr. Yoshida, head of the Biological Sciences Division, stepped forward. They're non-lethal, I assure you. Targeted electromagnetic pulses designed to temporarily disrupt the neural patterns of specific species. Uncomfortable, perhaps even painful, but causing no permanent damage. You developed species-specific neural disruptors in 2 weeks. Vex's skin pulsed with patterns of alarm. We adapted existing medical technology used for treating neurological disorders, Dr. Yoshida explained. Your biological database provided the templates for various Confederation species neural structures. Secretary General Okafor interjected. We're preparing to defend ourselves, archivist, not initiate genocide. Every measure developed has both defensive and non-lethal applications as its priority. Vex considered this. The speed of human innovation was even more remarkable, and potentially frightening, than the Confederation had assessed. But their restraint was equally noteworthy. Your preparations are impressive, he admitted. But Executor Krell commands a battle group with technology centuries beyond your most advanced systems. Even with these countermeasures, direct confrontation would be catastrophic. We're not planning to fight if we can avoid it, Lyanna said. But we need to demonstrate that the cost of containment would be unacceptably high. A negotiating position based on mutual deterrence, Vex realized. Exactly, confirmed the Secretary General. And you, Archivist, are going to help us establish communication when they arrive. Executor Krell stood on the command deck of the Inexorable Justice as it decelerated into the Sol system. The primitive detection systems of the quarantined world would already have observed their approach. Unavoidable given the physics of interstellar travel, it made little difference. No pre-Confederation civilization had the capability to threaten a modern battle group. Status report, he commanded. His second, Sub-Executor Mira, responded immediately. We've detected unusual activity throughout the system, Executor. The humans have deployed satellites and stations well beyond their previous range, including positions around Mars and in the asteroid belt. Krell's facial tentacles twitched with mild surprise. Recent developments, then, consistent with their accelerated growth pattern. Any sign of Archivist Vex or his vessel? Negative, Executor. However, we are receiving a transmission from the third planet. It's being broadcast on standard Confederation frequencies. That was unexpected. Quarantined worlds shouldn't have knowledge of those frequencies. Origin point. A station in orbit around their planet. The transmission includes a visual component and is being broadcast in standard Galactic. Krell's tentacles stiffened. Display. The main view screen activated, showing a human female in a formal uniform, standing beside the unmistakable blue-skinned form of Archivist Vex. Confederation vessel, this is Commander Lyanna Reeves of Earth's United Space Command. We are aware of your mission and the reason for your presence in our system. We request peaceful dialogue regarding Earth's status within the galactic community. Krell's 4 eyes narrowed. The information breach is confirmed then. Archivist Vex appears to be cooperating willingly with the humans. He turned to Mira. Prepare a strike team. We'll extract the Archivist and any technology he shared. Executor, Mira said hesitantly. The transmission continues with specific coordinates for a meeting. And a warning. A warning. Krell's voice carried dangerous amusement. From pre-Confederation humans, display the remainder. The human continued. We propose a diplomatic meeting aboard our neutral station at the provided coordinates. Be advised that unauthorized entry into Earth's defensive perimeter will be met with proportional response. We have adapted Confederation technology based on information legally shared by Archivist Vex, who has requested asylum with us. The image shifted to show orbital platforms surrounding Earth, along with technical specifications that made Krell's tentacles twitch involuntarily. They've developed shield disruptors and neural-targeted weapons, Mira observed, her voice tight with concern. Impossible, Krell dismissed. No species could adapt such technology so quickly from mere information. It's a bluff. The shield disruptor designs appear functional, the tactical officer interjected. And our scans confirm unusual energy signatures consistent with particle weaponry around the planet. The orbital platforms match the specifications in their transmission. Krell fell silent, reassessing. If the humans had indeed made such advancements in mere weeks, the threat assessment of their development curve had been drastically underestimated. Containment might already be impossible without measures extreme enough to trigger a review by the Confederation Ethics Council. Executor, Mira prompted. Your orders. Krell's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep contemplation among his species. Prepare my diplomatic shuttle. Sub-Executor Mira, you will accompany me to these coordinates. Maintain battle readiness, but take no aggressive action unless I give the command. You're accepting their invitation. Mira sounded surprised. I'm assessing their actual capabilities, Krell corrected. If this is a bluff, we'll proceed with extraction and containment. If not, his tentacles twisted in a gesture of resignation. Then the Confederation Council will need to reconsider its approach to the human question. The neutral meeting station, a hastily retrofitted International Space Station module positioned in lunar orbit, was minimal but functional. Commander Reeves, Secretary General Okafor, Archivist Vex, and a small team of human experts waited as the Confederation shuttle docked with precision. Executor Krell's appearance was intimidating. Tall, with mottled gray skin, 4 independently moving eyes, and facial tentacles that expressed emotion through subtle movements. Sub-Executor Mira, by contrast, appeared almost human except for her metallic-looking skin and the ridge of sensory nodules along her scalp. Executor Krell, Secretary General Okafor stepped forward. Welcome to Earth space. I am Secretary General Okafor, representing the United Nations of Earth. Krell's translator rendered her words, and his tentacles twitched in acknowledgement. Your invitation was unexpected, as is your level of preparation. His 4 eyes moved independently, scanning the station, the visible technology, and lingering on Archivist Vex. Archivist, you have violated multiple Confederation directives. Your actions border on treason. Vex's skin pulsed with patterns of calm determination. I acted in accordance with the highest principles of the Confederation, Executor. The planned containment of the sentient species capable of self-determination violates our founding charter. That determination is not yours to make, Krell responded coldly. Perhaps not, Commander Reeves interjected. But now that the information has been shared, we have some determinations of our own to make. Krell's attention shifted to her. You speak boldly for a representative of a pre-Confederation world. A world that has demonstrated the ability to adapt your technology with remarkable efficiency, Sub-Executor Mira added quietly. The shield disruptors alone are merely one application of the principles we've developed. Dr. Chakrabarty completed her thought. We've prepared a demonstration, with your permission. At Krell's guarded nod, a holographic display activated, showing a test field on the lunar surface. A small device activated, generating a field identical to standard Confederation shields. A second device fired, and the shield collapsed instantly. Impressive, Krell admitted, though hardly enough to threaten a battle group. Perhaps not, Secretary General Okafor agreed. But consider this, in 2 weeks, with limited information, we adapted and improved upon technology that took the Confederation centuries to develop. Imagine what we could contribute as members rather than subjects. Krell's tentacles twisted in a complex pattern that Vex recognized as intrigue calculation. You offer cooperation rather than resistance, Krell asked. We offer partnership, Lyanna corrected. Earth will not accept containment or restricted development. but we're eager to join a galactic community as equals, contributing our unique perspective. And if the Confederation refuses, Secretary General Okafor's expression hardened. Then we would regrettably be forced to demonstrate our full defensive capabilities. We've seeded the approaches to our system with quantum-entangled mines based on your own designs. We've developed targeted countermeasures for every ship in your battle group. The cost of containment would be unacceptably high, even if you ultimately succeeded. The room fell silent. Vex watched Krell carefully, noting the slight color changes in his skin that indicated intense thought. Finally, Krell spoke. In 300 years of service, I have never encountered a species that advanced so quickly or responded so pragmatically to first contact. It is both impressive and concerning. We prefer to call it human ingenuity, Lyanna said with the hint of a smile. Indeed. Krell's tentacles relaxed slightly. I will transmit your position to the Confederation Council, along with my assessment of your capabilities. I cannot promise they will welcome you as you wish, but I believe they will recognize that containment is no longer a viable option. That's a start. Secretary General Okafor nodded. And Archivist Vex has indeed committed technical violations of Confederation law, Krell acknowledged. However, as his actions have revealed a fundamental flaw in our containment assessment protocols, I will recommend clemency. Vex's skin pulsed with relief patterns. There is much to discuss, Krell continued. Your world stands at a threshold few civilizations have faced, the discovery that you are not alone, and that your place in the cosmos is both smaller and potentially greater than you imagined. Humanity has always adapted to new horizons, Lyanna replied. We look forward to exploring this one, as partners, not specimens. As the meeting continued, Vex observed the interchange with growing optimism. The humans had managed what no other quarantine species had accomplished, forcing the Confederation to reconsider its approach through a perfect balance of demonstrated capability and diplomatic restraint. The stars that had been forbidden to humanity would soon be within their reach, and the galaxy, whether it realized it yet or not, would never be the same. 3 months later, Archivist Vex stood beside Commander Reeves on the observation deck of the newly constructed diplomatic outpost orbiting Earth. Below them, the planet glowed blue and green and white, while above, the stars beckoned. The Confederation Council's vote is scheduled for tomorrow, Vex said, his skin pulsing with anticipation patterns. All indications suggest they'll approve Earth's provisional membership status. With some restrictions, I assume, Lyanna replied. Some, yes. Limited access to certain technologies, monitored expansion for the first decade. But nothing that prevents your natural development. Vex's compound eyes focused on her. You've accomplished in months what most species take centuries to achieve after first contact. Lyanna smiled. That's humanity for you. Push us into a corner, and we come out fighting. Or in this case, innovating. The Confederation doesn't know what to make of you, Vex admitted. Some members are excited about your potential. Others remain wary. All are watching closely. Let them watch, Lyanna said, gazing upward at the stars. We've only just begun. The first human-designed faster-than-light ship was nearing completion in the shipyards on Mars. Teams of scientists worldwide were already collaborating on applications of Confederation knowledge that approached problems from angles no other species had considered. Art and culture from Earth were beginning to transmit to curious audiences throughout the galaxy. Humanity, forgotten no more, was taking its first steps into a much larger universe. And the universe, ready or not, was about to meet its newest members. I believe, Vex said, his skin glowing with the soft blue of certainty, that the stars will never be the same again. Lyanna's smile widened. That's the plan, Archivist. That's the plan.